We begin at 5 with a breaking news update. St. Louis County Executive Steve Stenger indicted on corruption charges. He has since resigned. Good evening, I'm Kay Quinn.
And I'm Mike Bush. Stenger faces charges of bribery and mail fraud. We have team coverage. What's next for the county council? And how will a new executive be selected?
We begin tonight with Casey Nolan. He's live outside the Eagleton Courthouse to break down the indictment. Casey?
Well, Mike and Kay, a lot to break down with 44 pages of allegations against Steve Stenger. But prosecutors say it all really comes down to one thing that some have been accusing him of for months: helping campaign donors get county contracts because of their donations. We have videotape of Steve Stenger arriving to court earlier today to plead not guilty. Stenger's name is not the only one in his indictment, but so far he is the only one facing charges. Another name in there is a donor of his by the name of John Rollo. Stenger is accused of trying to force through county contracts for Rollo, including a consulting deal to bring the actor Montel Williams to town to do what Stenger allegedly called PR rehab after everything that went down in Ferguson back in 2014. Prosecutors say they have thousands of emails and messages from Stenger, and one appears to show Rollo reaching out after it looked like the contract for Montel Williams wouldn't go through. Stenger allegedly told him $350,000, his asking price, was just too much. Rollo writes back, "What is the number? You know what we're trying to accomplish," according to court documents. Stenger's attorney says they will fight these charges.
Today was not a surprise, so we're familiar with the case and we plan to orchestrate our next move from there.
The charges are basically that the defendant deprived the citizens of St. Louis County of their right to his honest services. It was a bribe, it was a pay-to-play scheme, obviously, that involved bribes paid through political donations in exchange for his official acts.
When we put out these pictures online and social media earlier today of Stenger arriving to court, some question how or why he would show up to allegations of pay-to-play in a SUV, a Bentley we believe it was, that cost more than his yearly county salary. We could tell you that's not his car. It was his attorney, Scott Rosenblum's. Back out here live, Stenger left the county courthouse just like he walked in, on his own accord, with no bail, just his word that he will continue to show up for court. We'll send it back to you in the studio.
All right, Casey, thanks. The indictment of Steve Stenger this morning was followed by even more news involving him and his future.
In a short letter, the Democrat announced he would be leaving office immediately. 5 on Your Side investigative reporter Jacob Long continues our team coverage live from downtown Clayton. Jacob?
Well, Mike and Kay, here at the St. Louis County Government Center, we've been hearing a lot of mixed reaction to this still developing story today. Been inside there, camped out since well before 10 o'clock. And a little bit ago, a county employee actually stopped us in the elevator and said that this was going to be a very good thing for St. Louis County, although particularly up on the 9th floor where the St. Louis County Executive's office is located. We had an employee tell us earlier today that this was a very sad situation. They were definitely not enthused about the charges against their now former boss. But here's what we know about the timeline of exactly how Steve Stenger's resignation came down. The letter was turned into County Councilor Peter Crane at some point this morning. It appears to have happened in the 9 or 10 o'clock hour. Now, I do know firsthand that it happened at least before 10:45 this morning, because that's when I got a copy of it through a public records request from the county clerk's office. Stenger kept his letter pretty short, saying that it was an honor to serve the people of St. Louis County. In the last 4 years, he says, have been some of the most fulfilling of his professional life. He says after giving this situation a lot of thought, he decided it was best not only for the county, but also for his family to resign from office immediately. A little bit ago, we caught up with 3rd District Councilman Tim Fitch, a Republican, to get his reaction to the resignation.
This is a sad day for St. Louis County that our leader of our county government is indicted, a sitting county executive. Never in the history of St. Louis County have we seen this before. And it's a sad day, but on the other hand, I see it as a step forward. We have to move forward, and the resignation will allow us to move forward.
Now, it's interesting because Councilman Fitch was actually the first county council member to call for Steve Stenger's resignation a couple of weeks ago, when that federal grand jury subpoena, news of that subpoena broke that was targeting the Stenger administration. Fitch telling us that Stenger leaving office right at the beginning of his 2nd term, having just barely won re-election a couple of months ago in November. We're live in Clayton. Jacob Long, 5 on Your Side.